celebrating the holiday, good on you. Hope it's a good holiday. If you're finished with your holidays, be it Christmas or Hanukkah, hope they were good holidays. Anyway, I'm Scott, Kyle, Brandon, and this is the 2022 MVPs or most valuable moments of the year. I've got a laundry list of things that we're going to go into. We've got various, events from the year, pictures. I'm going to give you guys a feel for what you think is most memorable, what's going to be looked back upon 30, 40, 50 years from now. If you basically it's something you think, yeah, you know what, people are going to remember this. But before getting into it, how you doing, guys?
Doing all right, doing all right. Just digesting and getting through all the holiday meals without hopefully putting on too much weight. But judging by the size of my chin, it's failing miserably, the diet. But overall, it's been rather enjoyable. Got to see a lot of family. Got to hang out with my little niece, and it was overall enjoyable.
Nice.
Yeah, it was good. Wrapping up the end of this year here, all the holidays and stuff like that. Yeah, the whole family being together. It's all good. But yet, sports still go on.
It does.
We got tons to talk about.
And we are going to break this down. We got a bunch of stuff to go into. We're going to start this in this case right now with a very possibly divisive, possibly not divisive topic here. The Astros win the World Series, and according to a lot of people, they didn't cheat this year. So
this just in, they didn't cheat.
It's as far as we know right now, they did not.
Yeah.
But the last time it didn't come out until about a year later. So as far as we know, this is legitimate. So congrats, they won their first legitimate title.
Technically, the other one was legit too. Technically speaking.
But yeah. So overall, all right.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that I weirdly pulled for them all season because I predicted early on that they were going to win the World Series this year. So the only reason I was rooting for them was to just prove myself right and look good in one prediction. I'm over like 78 on the rest of them, but I got one that I can hold on to.
And it's the worst one.
It kind of was, yeah. But you know what, though? At the same time, it's Dusty Baker.
Yeah, I'll give it to him.
Dusty was one of the three managers in baseball that I really wanted to win a World Series. Him, Buck Showalter, and Don Mattingly. He got his after long last. He just missed out in 2002, just missed out in 2003 with Steve Bartman and all that, although it was bigger than Bartman. But he had so many near misses 20 years ago that it's nice that he, at 70, I think 4 years old, he finally gets a World Series ring as a manager.
Yeah. No, I think it's good. And he's really one of those guys, Dusty, where he's a baseball lifer, so respected around the league and outside of the league, and really one of the nicest down to earth guys that really seems to be in baseball. Knows the game as well as anybody. Has forgotten more about baseball than we combined have known. And so it was really great for him personally to win the World Series, get that monkey off his back. It really felt like Andy Reid in the NFL finally winning his Super Bowl. The same type of just really guys that are just so respected and loved and just really, it's not, we throw the word deserved around in sports a lot. And there's really nothing deserved in sports. It's all earned. But there are certain situations like, Dusty, after all he had been through, put into the game, you deserve a ring. And it was good, really great to see in that sense. And to go to the Astros cheating angle of this, we really have to put that to bed.
I'm okay with it.
This year, I don't think really there's any question or should be any controversy around. They were just a damn good team. And I think that's part of honestly the hate for this team is they've been really good for a long time now, longer than a lot of baseball teams are. I mean, we see you get 2-3 years, a team peaks, maybe wins, doesn't win, but then they kind of die off. This team has been a force in this league for years now, and we've seen some pieces leave this offseason. Verlander, Gurriel just went to Diamondbacks. So that a lot of the main guys are starting to leave, but they do have a core there. They do still have a lot of young pitching and a lot of great young talent in the field. So they are still going to be a force to be reckoned with the next couple of years for sure.
Yeah, as long as Altuve and Dusty Baker are there. Now, interestingly enough, despite winning the World Series, Astros owner Jim Crane only offered a 1-year deal to Dusty. He didn't, he said he'll be 75, but honestly, he won the World Series for, I don't know, why not make it 3? What possible logic would you have to give one of the most likable, smart move managers out there, a 1-year deal after winning you a World Series? I mean, dude, he's not like a troublemaker. He's a chill dude.
No, and for what he did for that franchise to really, steady the ship after all the rocking waters that it had been through for a while, I thought it was a situation where you come, hey, Dusty, what would you like to do?
Yeah.
What would your plan like to be moving forward? Whatever it is, you got it. Sounds good to me.
Now, one of the questions that I'm going to ask in this particular case for each one of these is, we'll fast forward to 2050, and how much will this be remembered? Because I figure 28 years from now, 2050 is a nice round number. In this case here, the 2022 World Series, how much do you think people are going to remember it in 2050?
I feel it's probably going to, while...
You know what? I'll make it better. 2030. Let's make it 8 years from now.
Okay.
28 years, I think, is too many for some of these. It'll make sense for, but not that one.
Well, it'll be remembered because they won, and I think it might have a little bit more weight than some of the other World Series wins, mainly because of the controversy of their previous one.
Mm-hmm.
So people will see this one, and if nothing else comes out, they will end up saying, like, okay, well, this was their first real one, but even though records-wise, whatever, there aren't any asterisks in the record book, because like the same thing with like the with the Black Sox scandal. You're not going to take away the win from the other team just because one team threw the title. So it's like this is officially their second one, but the court of public opinion may feel that this is the first one. So while this will be more memorable than just a random team winning it, it feels like just all right.
Yeah, I think basically with the way baseball is, it's not something that people really, really remember. Because it'll get swallowed up by next year and the years following. So
absolutely, and especially, and it's also like there's no like storylines behind it. Like the Phillies, the first number 6 seed, if they won, then it would be memorable. If the Yankees won it, it would be memorable because that was the year that Judge hit 62.
It's a return to glory, also.
Exactly, return to glory. It's like there was no real storyline behind this one, other than their previous win. So, and honestly, their whole trod through the playoffs was just like they just kept winning. It's like they didn't lose a single game in the playoffs until the World Series.
Yeah, they steamrolled.
Yeah, and it honestly felt boring. So
it did.
So going by how a lot of sports storylines go, this was kind of not really memorable.
Yeah.
I actually think it was, in the sense that it's the Astros, and we know what's been attached to them recently. And for that reason, like, yes, they are one of the few teams, or one of the only teams, that has won multiple championships in a very recent period of time. Like we see so many runoffs, and stuff, one-offs and stuff like that. And again, for those individual teams, and they are memorable. There is something to remember each one of those teams by. But I think with this one, it's going to be a situation where I don't think you can bring up the one World Series without bringing up the other.
Yeah.
Whichever way you do it. Because you could say, that you could start off, this team years ago, they cheated, but then they kind of redeemed themselves. Or if you start at the end and work backwards, look, this team won this championship, but years before that, they had won a championship that had a lot of controversy and cheating and stuff like that. So I really think you're kind of getting almost two storylines combined in one,
Smart.
making it a little bit more of a an eye-catching or an ear-catching story because of that. And we all these recent teams, Dodgers, Nationals, Braves, all they won one championship.
Now, my question to you in this case is
Red Sox before that.
You made a good point that one's tied to the other in this case, and it's easy to draw the comparison.
And I don't think you can tell one without the other.
Well,
I don't think you can separate them.
How many World Series would they have to win before you stop doing that, do you think?
I mean, I think it should be stopped now because they did it, but
one to wipe it.
I mean, another one definitely should, but I could still see there being people that say, no, they still need to win 3, 4, 5 more championships before I can not forgive, but sit there and say, okay, they won legitimate championships.
With a brand new roster. And
I mean, it's
because Correa's gone, Verlander's gone. I mean, Cole is gone. All of these guys have parted ways and gone. To a lot of times the teams that they literally cheated. Carlos Beltran was a broadcaster for them. Gary Cole is with them now. Verlander's with the Mets. Correa maybe with the Mets. Who knows what's going on there?
The other thing I noticed is in this offseason, I remember earlier you mentioned on how they only gave Dusty Baker a 1-year contract. They didn't even really give an offer to the general manager that formed the team.
Yeah.
Like the general manager's gone after winning the World Series.
Yep. Forgot about that.
I don't understand the logic of that. And again, Dusty Baker is one of the most likable guys in sport. When they signed him after everything went south, I thought it was a genius move from a team I hated because he is that passive, calm, boat kind of calm, dead calm kind of guy that the team needed to get respect and credibility back. So the team rallied around him and won for him more than themselves. Even guys like Pena, Alvarez, it was great for them, but they won it for him.
Yeah.
Because there's a big difference when you win it when you're 28 or 30 and a hell of a lot different when you win it at 74.
Absolutely. Dusty Baker winning was like the silver lining out of the Astros winning.
So the question here, yes or no in this case. Fast forward, setting the way forward machine in 2030. Will this World Series be remembered? Yes or no?
Yes.
I say yes.
Reluctantly,
only because of the previous one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, from the previous one, and when Dusty Baker gets inducted into the Hall of Fame, this is the
lock of that. Yeah.
Exactly,
so when he retires, 2030 could actually be when he gets inducted for that.
I think you might be right.
It's 5 years after you leave, so the timing might work. So okay. So
absolutely. And if anyone's listening in chat, feel free to shoot us a message with your opinion.
Yeah, there's a couple of people I know are watching right now. I'm looking at that. Serena retires. Now this is an obvious one. 2030. I think we'll all be in agreement on this. They will remember Serena Williams. Venus, maybe not so much. Serena, yeah. The amount of Grand Slams that this woman won, highest ranking one. I mean, just an obscene number of championships here. Trying to pull up the exact number of here. The problem is I'm looking at this right now. Australian Open 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. French Open 3 times. Wimbledon 7 times. US Open 6 times. And
it's more than any other. Not only female tennis superstar,
across the board.
Tennis star in general.
Yes.
I think she has like the most tennis titles out of anyone who's ever played professional tennis. Period.
And also 4 gold medals in the Olympics too. 2000, 2008, 2012.
She's definitely going to be in the record books she's going to be in the record books and be remembered for a long time.
Plus, if you want to throw in all the doubles championships,
I didn't even get to that. Yeah,
and that's where that's where Venus will get remembered too.
Yes, but Venus, ironically enough, despite all her successes, will always be second fiddle to Serena.
If you're going to be second fiddle to someone, you might as well let it be your sibling. So it's like, all right.
Yeah, her doubles record all time is 192 and 35. Mixed doubles is 27 and 4. And her singles record is an 84.6% at 858 to 156. So in 1,000 matches, she won 850 plus.
What's the highest percent? That has to be the highest percent.
That's insane.
I don't know.
That's wild.
That is wild. That
Yeah, I
is
mean that's.
crazy.
I mean, in my case, I grew up with like Martina Navratilova, Jimmy Connors, Patrick. I'm sorry, John McEnroe. Yeah, I don't think they're.
McEnroe.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question that she is the GOAT. Like, I'm not even gonna throw the women's men's part of it.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
that's it, man. Like she was so dominant, and it's very much like the Tiger factor, where in prime, even in a tick outside of their prime, them going into the tournament, you put your money on them.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
for what she's done for the sport, and what she's done for just girls in tennis, and just that whole part of it too, the social part. I mean, there's you can't even put it into words. I mean, she really is. I mean, memorable. That's an understatement with her, for real. There's going to be some type of, I don't know, award or achievement award somewhere where it's going to have her name on it, and it's going to be a very prestigious thing. And I'm going to throw, again, the word deserved out there, because it is. So
now I looked it up. I do have this at least.
Absolutely.
She has the most Grand Slam tournaments. So she's at 23. Steffi Graf is at 22. Navratilova and Chris Everett Lloyd were at 18 each. So she is the all-time champion in that regard right off the bat. So, but yeah, I mean, honestly, can you say anything but GOAT for this woman?
In tennis, absolutely not.
Yeah. Most match wins, 833. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It's like no one else is even close.
Yeah.
Not right. Like this is like an all-time talent.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, 8 years from now, we will remember Serena, and not just because of the fact that she had a cameo in Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah, and not only that, she's going to be brought on every tennis tournament for commentary. No, she's
decades.
So not only in 8 years, in 80 years, she's going to.
But also, here's the weird thing: she's also married to like the co-founder of Reddit, which I find really, really odd.
I actually see. Tell me,
Kyle, are you looking that up right now to confirm that?
Yes, I am.
I could actually see some type of major ownership in her future.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can absolutely
inside or outside of tennis.
Yep, I can absolutely see her in some investment group doing something and really owning something that's a major thing. I can absolutely see that in her future. Not far in the future either.
Yeah, her husband is actually Alexis Ohanian. He's best known as the co-founder and executive chair of Reddit. Oh, dude, that is so funny.
Yeah. All right.
But at least basically in this case here, he can sit there and get the mods to basically block anything that's anything negative towards her.
That certainly helps.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, 8 years from now, definitely. Moving on to this one. This is more of a Brandon one, I think. But Golden State finally returns back to its glory. And I was hoping you were going to be on for this because this one is right in your wheelhouse right now. I don't know if people are going to remember this 8 years from now, but it was overdue for them, if nothing else.
No, I think it will be just because of how under a microscope the superstars are, that kind of it goes with everything. I mean, especially with the being able to win without Kevin Durant part. That's where this comes in major. And then again, it'll tie this championship kind of ties in the early Golden State winning days where they didn't have Kevin Durant. So it really, the whole kind of bookend aspect of it, I think it is memorable. It's Steph. It's the greatest shooter ever. I mean, he's setting
numbers that are almost unheard of in this day and age for shooting. It's like those are numbers from like Iron Arms McGee back in like the 1950s or something like that.
Yeah, it was like Madden level numbers there. So
yeah, it's exactly. It's like it's create a character, like NBA create a character numbers. It's ridiculous. Video game numbers is the term. Yep. So it's video game numbers.
You think you'll remember this in 8 years from now? Yeah, I think they could actually come to think of it.
Here's a question: is well, yes, it is a Golden State win. Is it as memorable as some of the ones in the past?
Mm.
I don't. While it's certainly a wonderful wonderful feel good moment, as like with the Astros winning, it's like, hmm,
Hmm.
it's like yeah, individual accomplishments, like Steph Curry putting up ridiculous numbers, sure, because that's also in a record book. But it, I honestly almost before reading this today, I almost forgot that they won this year.
Yeah, well, I admit I'm actually kind of throwing these things on you on the spot, like one from each sport here.
Oh
Um,
no, that's
but,
fine.
but yeah, in this case, I not
It's
following
not as
basketball.
memorable. It's not as memorable,
No,
Yeah, I
but
mean not versus Serena. Listen, I had Serena right before this. There's no way this is going to hold a candle to that. And there's a couple in here on this list that are going to be both higher and lower than I think.
well,
But because
well,
of
it's gonna say it's like if you have one per sport and you have the Major League Baseball one and Judge and it's Astros instead of Judge.
Mhm.
Like I put Judge's accomplishment higher than the Astros winning the World Series this year.
I could argue, you know what? I see your point because in this case, he had to carry that team. The Astros were a community effort of a bunch of
Yes.
players we've already named. In
Mhm.
his case, especially after say August 1st, there was nobody performing on that team. And
No.
considering in this case here, because nobody was, they'd pitch around him. His on base percentage was phenomenal because
Mhm.
nobody would dare pitch to him. He'd walk all the time.
Well, and it's like yeah, the team struggled. You might have the occasional good game from like say Anthony Rizzo or Stanton, or Harrison Bader carrying them through the round one of the playoffs.
When he finally came back,
Yeah,
he trained
when
for
he
a guy
finally
that
came
didn't
back
get to-
and he well, I will say he did put all the detractors to rest, including
Mhm.
myself, about how they gave up Jordan Montgomery, a rather decent pitcher that they had in a year where they needed decent pitchers.
Yeah.
But it also gave us more of a reason to want to shoot Aaron Hicks into the sun. But yeah,
But here's the thing. I still hate that deal with Harrison Bader because, again, you giving
Yeah.
up Jordan Montgomery like that, and especially with the way he came out of the gate, the trade is immediately looked upon in the first couple of weeks after being made.
oh yeah,
Bader was in crutches.
yeah.
Jordan Montgomery was going 7 innings with like one hit ball.
I don't think he gave up I think he gave up like one run over the course of like 5 starts in a row.
Yeah, it
And
was.
he went 7-8 innings. I think with like a complete game in there somewhere.
Yeah,
Like,
see, the fact that we've really took a hard left to Cardinals Yankees trade is the exact reason why this championship is not as memorable.
exactly. Thank
yeah,
you.
that's a great
I was
point.
just about to make that point too. I was just about to make that point.
No, but in all seriousness, though, it's I mean, I think part of it is it was a finals that yes, Steph is a superstar,
Absolutely.
but
And for all the players,
Clay and
players.
Dre, they're
Mhm.
they're stars, but they're not TV rating. I got to go to my TV. Steph is, and as great as Jason Tatum and the Celtics team were, again, they're not. Oh man, I gotta watch Jason Tatum tonight.
Golden State.
I mean,
is not,
I'm sure there are, but over the grand scheme of things, it wasn't the superstar firepower that we've seen in finals recently. But I think the NBA fan base, me included, has been spoiled to that because not that LeBron started the super teams. That's not what happened. But kind of in the last, it's kind of approaching kind of 15 years now. We've seen these finals where all these teams have 2 or 3 superstars that on their own teams are doing their own things, and they're on the one team or the 2 teams playing each other. We've kind of drifted away from that as we've kind of seen the last year or two. And I think for that reason, it's kind of go back a little bit more towards baseball and where we're getting in the NFL, we're not getting huge dominant runs by teams. Because look, this Golden is not lasting much longer. I mean, forgetting age, the
Turner's
contract.
getting up there,
These guys, some of these guys, I don't think are going to be playing at a super high level much longer. Look at Clay's health. I mean, that's crazy. Dre, we know what kind of skill set Draymond has, and again, age and everything like that, and we know what kind of a headache he can be at times, depending on what the situation is. So again, I think we were kind of spoiled to the whole really super memorable finals and all that stuff like that. I think we're going to have to kind of accept this kind of reshift back to where it was kind of late 2000s, where we're going to get a couple different teams in the running every year, and you're going to get a 5-6 year stretch where 4 or 5 teams win the championship.
But that's not a bad thing.
No, it's absolutely it's not a bad thing.
I love parity.
Yeah, no, it is. It's just you're not going to sit there and say, "Oh, you remember that run that this team had?" You know, you can for the Warriors, you can for LeBron as a player, you can for the Shaq Kobe Lakers and the Bulls and the Spurs and even those Pistons teams mid 2000s that won a chip in it and were a force for 5 years, 6 years. So there will be some things taken from this, but I think we're gonna kind of reshift to that kind of more, like you said, the more parity, more of a balanced league, which again is great.
Now, looking at this right now from the TV rating standpoint, they average 12.4 million viewers between Golden State and Boston, which is Boston's one of the premier sports towns.
Mm-hmm.
Forgetting 2020 and 21 because of COVID on that. The last time you have to go to actually an NBA Finals that was that low was 2007. So I think, interestingly enough, a lot of people kind of didn't care so much. And outside of Boston, I think a lot of people don't really draw to San Francisco. It's not LA.
You said 2007 was the lowest?
Yeah, San Antonio.
Since what? Lowest since what year or
2007 was the lowest at just over 9. But I'm looking at all the numbers outside of 2020, 2021.
Which is crazy to me, actually.
2003 was lower. Now I'm back into the 1990s at this point.
All right. Well, forget the 90s because everybody watched those finals and stuff like that.
90s were a ratings
finals,
boom.
But then you also had the finals interrupted by OJ's chase.
Yeah, in 94.
Yes.
What were the TV ratings for 1994?
Yeah, you got to look at that.
17.25 for the Rockets Knicks.
There you go.
The 90s I think was like peak ratings for a lot of sports.
1998, 29 million on average when the Bulls beat the Jazz. Because that was also MJ's shot there too when he was battling a fever. Yeah, that shot almost 36 million.
He had a bad slice of pizza. Let's stop with this.
In regards to ratings, does that include like ratings nowadays? Does that include like streaming?
Well,
I don't think so.
So it's
I hear
TV ratings are.
It says
can't really go by them as much.
Game.
I'm just surprised in 2007 because that was LeBron and the Spurs. I figured, the chosen one, he gets to the finals. I figured all eyes on that. That's a little surprising.
I'm looking at, like I said, and that's also pre-streaming days. I would suspect
all the more reason.
I would have to suspect a lot of these were streaming numbers because it's a streaming world now.
Yes,
I mean,
nowadays, yes.
I mean, one of the Christmas presents that we got yesterday was a pair of hands that turns a phone into basically a tablet. So it's hands that surround your phone and just puts it right down as arms, and you can just sit there and just look, and it's like looking at a laptop. And it was
cool.
Such a simple thing, kind of funny, but it's such a smart thing. It just wraps around your phone or your tablet, and boom, it props it up.
So a stand.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah, stand.
Cool. Thank you, Pop. But in this case here, I would have to assume these probably kind of tie into these numbers a lot because a lot of people are watching through whatever device, whatever app that they've got. But also, again, you're dealing with the fact that we're dealing with an internet generation. A Candy Crush. God, they're Candy Crush advertised on TV, for God's sakes.
They are. I just saw some earlier today.
So I think you're hurting from that perspective, which is why all the TV ratings across the board are down. Now, if you wanted to know, it's 7.5 million for 2020 and just under 10 for 2021. But again, one could argue COVID and part of that. But
yes,
I think in 8 years from now, I don't think people are going to remember this title. I don't.
No.
So
Yeah, not as much. No.
I don't
now,
think so.
moving on to the next one, which nobody's going to remember. I think we're all in agreement on this. The Colorado Avalanche win the first Stanley Cup final since 2001. Question: were you guys even aware that the Colorado Avalanche won the Stanley Cup this year?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay.
because I watch hockey. Well, I do occasionally watch hockey,
Fair.
but no, I absolutely see your point. It was kind of not as that one wasn't as memorable. It was just basically, hey, Avalanche are a good team, then they won. Cool.
And in this case, they'd thrown the champion. Tampa Bay Lightnings have been phenomenal for a while. 2001, they won, beating my Devils because the Devils choked after Game 6 and Game 7 there. Which ironically enough would have been John Van Beesbrook's first Stanley Cup because he was the backup goaltender for the Devils, but he didn't get it because he was this close. The Devils choked. They'd won it the year before and would win it 2 years after, but still, it was like
close, but no cigar.
Exactly. So yeah, I think we're all in agreement. Congratulations to them, but it's Colorado.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's one of those that's gonna be memorable for those who played it and for the fan base, but not for the general populace outside.
Who's talking more about Russell Wilson, I'm sure, right now than basically hockey.
Unless it's a situation like in 2019 where the Capitals won and the guy like Ovechkin gets a cup, and it's kind of like that where a superstar wins. I think non-memorable. Honestly, what more recent that I remember, or I think is just more memorable, is when the St. Louis Blues won a few years ago. How by All-Star break they were in dead last place in the West.
That's a story.
Dead last place, and this was after New Year's, so in a very small period of time, go from the bottom to maybe not top of the standings, but the top of the sport, which is ridiculous. That I think is 10 times more memorable than the Avs winning.
But it's funny because if you look at that versus say the Nationals, who were also at the bottom and then rebounded a few years back, you have to look at the two of those and probably think to yourself, I think more people, St. Louis might even be more popular in this case because it's a more separate sports area. There isn't as much sports there as there is versus say Washington D.C., where you have one, two, you got four sports teams that I can think of, 5 sports teams if you include DC United in that city alone. Not to mention what you have in like Philadelphia, here in New Jersey, and all of the other Baltimore. It's surrounded by sports teams. St. Louis is kind of an island unto itself a little bit.
St. Louis and Kansas City.
Yeah, but they're still kind of far apart. I mean, they're on the opposite sides of the state, though. That's a fairly large state compared to ours. So,
yeah, still, but
mine.
Congratulations to them.
Exactly. So, yeah, nobody's going to remember this in 2030. Yeah, not surprising. This one, I'm kind of curious to see what you guys think. The Rams win the Super Bowl at home.
That I think that was a better story than the Avalanche, for sure. But
winning at home was a big deal. And also
absolutely.
Against a Cinderella team that nobody expected to go that far that fast.
Yep. Not only was it a Cinderella team, it was a big one, and a lot of people watched this one. So it's also the first title for the Rams after they relocated.
True. Yeah, because the last one was 1999 against Tennessee.
Yeah, and I think I think the making the trade for Stafford, bringing him over his first year, taking them to the promised land at home. I think, Super Bowls are always memorable. And I think for what the NFL has an advantage, the kind of the NHL, which we were just talking about, has a disadvantage in just general popularity. So almost by default, a Stanley Cup winner is not as memorable as a Super Bowl winner.
Yeah, no.
Regardless of star power, relative to the sport, regardless of the team, it doesn't matter. That's the damn Super Bowl. And I'm still a proponent of Monday after Super Bowl being a federal holiday. Come on, government, make that happen.
Hey, I think that's a great idea.
I've been saying it for years.
Employees had to work Friday and actually had to work today. because of the fact that, the way things fell with Christmas being on Sunday and Christmas
Yep.
Eve being on Saturday. There were people that got no days off because of that, which is a bullshit move. I'm sorry.
Yes, it is. But
Yeah.
companies will do that. But
Yep.
the thing is, it's like I would love to have Super Bowl Sunday as a holiday because it breaks up the complete void of any type of celebration or holidays or gatherings from like the end of from like New Year's Eve to like St. Patrick's Day or Easter. So it's just a big just gray droll of gathering based holidays.
Yeah.
Like there are some
President's
holidays
Day.
like
Woohoo! That's a hoot.
I was gonna say it's like
St.
there are
Patrick's
some
Day.
days there are some day off holidays like you got Martin Luther King Day, you got President's Day.
People don't get together and party for that. They don't
Yeah,
do
you know,
shit.
They're great days. They're just not.
Absolutely, it's just they aren't gathering days. Like you don't really have like parties that day. Like
Exactly.
like social gathering days.
Ides of March Day.
I think it would be everyone bring your knife, but yeah, and so I think Super Bowl Sunday should be a national holiday.
The question
Super Bowl
in this
Sunday, well, it's easy for Super Bowl Sunday because it's a single day. It's not like the other
Right.
playoffs where it's like a best of 7 series. Maybe if there's like a game 7, the towns that are involved with it might say, "Yeah, we're declaring today watch the game day or something like that." But NFL makes it easy. It's one game. You can just focus on that, give the Monday off so people can recover. And I think everyone would be greatly appreciative of it.
You're welcome, America. Now make it happen.
Exactly. Woo.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the reason I want to bring this one up also is because I have the list here in front of me of the worst records of teams that have won a Super Bowl and then the record they had the following year. The worst record of all time is the Denver Broncos after the Super Bowl 33. They went 6-10 that year, the year following. Right now, the Rams are 5-10 in a 17-game season. So they would have to, in this case, win both games to avoid having the worst follow-up to a Super Bowl in all time.
Yeah, but at least But at least the Broncos can sit there and be like, "Oh, well, we lost John Elway, we lost Terrell Davis, we lost Shannon Sharp, we lost all those guys."
Yeah,
and they went the Rams. What you lost Odell? I mean, or Von, and you lost Von Miller. Okay,
well, I think Ndamukong Suh went somewhere, didn't he?
I think Sue went to the Eagles.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Well, also keep in mind that with the Broncos, they won 2 years, in a row. So you had that drop off after 2 Super Bowls for your all-world quarterback. Okay, fine. But in this case here, they won the one. Odell gets his ring. Congratulations on that. Surprisingly, nobody signed that guy yet, which blows my mind. But the team right now could go 5-12 and have absolutely the worst record ever of all time. They'd have to beat the Chargers on the road and the Seahawks on the road, who are fighting for their own playoff lives. So they could set the record for the worst follow-up to a Super Bowl ever.
Either that, or they could certainly play spoiler.
Oh yeah, to those two teams, of the Chargers and the Seahawks. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, the other thing is
Chargers more so because the Chargers are probably winning tonight against the Colts.
Yeah, the Chargers I think will be okay. The Seahawks are fading fast, especially if that loss that they just had.
But then again, the Rams have been doing a little better now that Cam Akers remembers that he's a running back.
Yeah, right now the Chargers are 8-6. That's a decent spot there. Seahawks are 7-8.
If they win tonight, they're 9-6.
Yeah, exactly. So they're setting themselves up for a good spot there.
Yeah.
By the way, just to come back to this real quick, I just want to point this out. So Jordan Montgomery, we talked about that real quick. In 11 starts, he had a 3.11 ERA. Harrison Bader, in his Yankee run of 14 games, batted .217 with an on-base percentage of .245. Yeah.
What did he do in the playoffs?
A lot more than that.
Yeah, but
he did that in the first round of the playoffs.
Those playoffs is the question.
Yes. So it's like he made the as we're back to as we're back to the baseball again. But I'm
sitting there looking at it on my screen. I'm like, I got to just get this out of my system.
No, absolutely. But no, it's like Bader's performance in the playoffs made that trade a lot more stomachable.
Mm-hmm.
But it's
Yeah, I mean,
still
he did.
kind of
Yeah.
painful. But now that I think of it, their lineup next year will absolutely need him at the top of the lineup
Oh
because
yeah.
who else? Because they
You can't
botched
start Aaron Judge at the top again.
no, and they botched re-signing Benintendi.
Benintendi's gone. Yeah.
And it's like,
And,
who else do they have to bat
God
leadoff?
forbid you call up these prospects and put any
I think that you still have IKF, and maybe Aaron Boone will pull his head out of his ass and actually bat IKF
it's
first.
right there.
But
Mhm.
It's right there in front of us.
it was right there the entire damn season, and he still didn't do it because I think
I think Aaron Judge is going to. We'll come off baseball in a second, but I think Aaron Judge is going to have a subpar season because
absolutely.
he's going to have to live up to that $40 million a year deal.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that is usually
No,
when
he
when
got
players sign big contracts, they struggle trying to justify that cost.
Yeah,
You saw LeBron
he's not
this
going to
year.
have another MVP season, but I think I think he'll do okay.
Mm-hmm.
But the rest of the team needs to step it up and actually, play like they should. And you can't just rely on Judge carrying the entire team along with the occasional really good performance from Stanton and Rizzo.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but then again, now Brandon, you mentioned the youngsters coming up. That they will probably be a revolving door in left field. Like you got Cabrera, you got Peraza, and I think Volpe will make the 40-man this in spring training and will be brought up this season sometime when IKF or Donaldson eventually gets run over by a car by an angry fan. I don't know. But yeah.
You got one more. Listen, you got one more year on that deal, and then he's
I would
gone.
do it early and fast. Bring them up here already.
Absolutely. No, it's like they are ready to play. They showed that they could play, and I think they would, with a full season under their belts. I think they have their infield set for the future. You have Rizzo at first base, which is phenomenal. Best move in there. Best move in the one of the best moves in the offseason, I think. Just like I said last year, because he saves them so many damn runs. But he's also a good leader to the other infielders. So having three young players come up with him at first, that is nothing but beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
That's a phenomenal thing. So now's the time to bring them up. But before, like Rizzo either does bad or when other veteran players leave. It's better to do it. Better to get them on the bench, even if it's on the bench. Get them up to the majors now. Get them some experience. Get them interacting with the veteran players, so then they can essentially set the table for the next generation.
Fair. I mean, don't pull in Ike Davis and pull him from single A all the way to the major league level just for a PR stunt. By the way, not for nothing, but the Super Bowl this year is $7 million for a 30-second ad. Now, is it just me, or have the commercials kind of gone downhill the last few years?
A lot of commercials have stopped caring. It's like all they're like is yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, there's some that kind of stick out amongst the rest, but as an overall slate of commercials, we've taken a dip in quality.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, you mean you didn't like the like the 20 crypto commercials that we had last year?
No, because see that I had a love-hate with them because the commercial, like with Larry David, like they were good, but like it's the crypto. Like I don't give a fuck about crypto.
You can say fuck, but we're not going on.
I don't give a fuck about crypto.
There you go. There it is.
First off, in Miami, the what used to be the great American Airlines Arena, host a home of my Miami Heat, changed their name to the FTX Arena, only for them to bankrupt a year and a half later. Now they got to do a whole new naming change again.
It could be worse. It could be Enron. No,
it could be. Or we'll get another ad that's literally just a QR code.
Yeah,
I hated those.
You know what though? I mean, I hate it, but it's smart because curiosity is what makes people move.
Yes. Oh yeah. No, it absolutely piqued curiosity, and then when you realize what it is, it's like.
Yeah.
No. I saw that pop up, and I'm like, you know what? Just because there was zero effort in this, I am not clicking this. I am not going to take this picture. But
you matched their effort with your
Exactly.
lack of effort. Yeah,
Yes.
that's fair. That's
Exactly.
Now, how
Exactly.
do you feel?
I will match. It's like if they throw in something that says, "Hey, buy this." All right, that's at least that's what should be the minimal effort, not just a boop
Yeah,
for like
that's
30
what it
seconds.
was. That's what it was.
It was literally like I was with JD watching the Super Bowl last year, and we were all like, "Fuck is this?" It's like the fuck.
No effort.
It
And,
was,
well,
and it didn't even have sound
think
behind
about
it.
the post-production costs and how cheap the commercial is to make.
They spent their entire advertising budget on the spot.
Yeah, but I mean, the cost of getting Larry David or Ewan McGregor,
Yes.
or Ryan Reynolds or any of this stuff is really pricey. To have
Oh,
a
no,
QR code just go, and then just like the DVD screensaver where it just bounced across.
It
They should have done that.
No, I think that's what it was.
Yeah,
It was a
Oh.
screensaver.
yeah, and like I said, at that point, honestly, it's kind of smart from a couple of different fronts because you're not spending $4 or $5 million on a commercial. You're just sitting there being like, and then just let it run.
Stupidly smart.
Yeah,
Stupid, smart, but massively cheap, especially given how much money those places had at that time last year. And I think it was
also-
FTX that did that.
And also, as a lot of people
Or
tune into
Coinbase.
the Super Bowl just for commercials, they get disappointed by the flat display of what commercials end up being now.
Yes.
I'm going to go out on a limb. God help me. I don't want to go political. I think there's going to be a political announcement in these Super Bowl ads. I don't know who,
I hope not.
but I think in this case, with the amount of money that was spent last year on political commercials in not even a presidential season, yeah. So anyway, moving on quickly and possible. Nathan Chen wins a gold at the Olympics. Do we care? By the way, just want to point this out. This actually came from the Chicago Tribune, an article this morning, breaking down like the biggest things that happened in this year. So, I mean, him getting gold, after screwed up in Pyongyang 4 years prior, but in the U.S. we don't really follow the Olympics that much. So, is it really that big a deal?
It's nice because
Nathan's family.
it's absolutely nice for his family.
I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah.
For him, his family, great. And you know what? It's like every year I always look up like some sports just to see like, okay, the U.S. is involved with this. Have they ever won anything like World Cup? No, but it's still nice to see them perform well. To have Chen win, that's fantastic. Now the U.S. actually has like a men's figure skater as being like a champion, a gold medal champion. So it's like, you know what? That's awesome. It's a feel good story, but and it will be remembered because it will be remembered when people look up the records. It's because there's always that first.
Well, then
person.
in that case, they don't remember.
Yeah.
Therefore,
Well, it's like you always remember like the first person.
Mm-hmm.
So
being 23, also he's young, so he has a little bit of run time.
Yes. Yeah. And he'll most certainly be back next Olympics.
Yeah.
Barring injury, but so I think it's a good thing for U.S. sports.
Fair. All right. Moving outside of that for a second, I guess. So, but again, actually, 8 years from now, people are going to remember? Nah, I don't think so.
Only if they look up just the U.S. winners. Yeah.
Lay person, probably not.
No.
No.
He it's not a household name.
No.
Not like Phelps.
Yeah. Max Verstappen, however, winning the Formula One for the second year in a row and defeating once again, arguably the most popular guy in Formula One with Lewis Hamilton. Maybe. That Verstappen is not really the kind of guy that draws a lot of attention, but in the Formula One circles, he's becoming considered to be better than Lewis Hamilton now. So I'm curious do you think people care? Lewis Hamilton's the most popular guy in the sport, I think.
I was about to say, it's like I don't know anything about F1 sports, unfortunately, so I've never heard of this guy.
We got to get Moss
our man
here.
Obi
He
cares.
can run for an hour and a half straight. So,
So in that case, this topic is a to be determined when he pops his opinion in here.
All right. So in that case, we're going to skip that and move right on to the very last one. Hang on one sec. I got to switch screens on this. Gee, do you think people are going to remember this one?
Yeah, no, absolutely. This one, it's memorable because it had a bunch of storylines, not just for Argentina, but for just this World Cup in general. Just all the news posts around it, between whether it be good, bad, atrocious, or whatever. So it's like already all the eyes are on this World Cup, and then you have the story of Lionel Messi going for in like what probably will be his final World Cup, going for the title and winning it against another headliner who during that finals game also had a hat trick. So you had everything going in that finals game for this to be just listed as probably one of the greatest soccer achievements of all time.
You can't not say that with the 2 goals, the penalty kick, the raw drama of this thing. 10 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday. Who cared? Everybody watched this thing.
Oh my God. Absolutely.
I mean, it was no Nathan Chen winning the gold at the Olympics, but
it's no Astros winning the World Series.
No, this is major. Like major. And it really does, I think, really secure itself as this real concrete moment in not just soccer but sports. And in Messi winning the World Cup after the
years,
loss, the last World Cup, avenging that, just all the other World Cup failures prior to this, finally getting the World Cup title and really adding that to his laundry list resume of accomplishments and accolades. I mean, like we said this like he's completed football, like he's beat soccer. Like
exactly, he beat soccer. He's done.
Soccer.
He has nothing else to achieve.
Doing side missions at this point. Like he's really
side quests.
Yeah,
he finished the end credits. He's done.
Exactly. Yeah.
He doesn't need to do it. He's the Pokemon champion.
He's got Soccer Game Plus now. We're just back in again.
Yeah, this is 100% completion mode.
Yeah,
and it's really, I mean, again, there really isn't much to say about this because you're just at a loss for words,
dude. Honestly, yeah, I think we come back to the whole will be remembered in 2030. Yes, it'll be remembered in 2050.
Soccer.
He's beaten soccer. It's done. Soccer lost.
It's funny. He's holding the championship. The trophy over his head like Link. It's like da 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 da.
No, that is literally an end cutscene right there.
It really is. Yeah.
That is a credit rolling picture.
Yeah, he's so yep, he wins. Great. Now let's see who happens next, which is probably going to be Mbappe. So it's like,
I think it's his time. Yes, I think France could easily win the World Cup 2026.
Trajectory.
I was going to say, like, I don't think Ronaldo is going to be in another World Cup, especially after the friction between him and the national team now.
Yes,
I think he's out of it. I don't. I think there was an English player that's probably was in his last World Cup this year who was supposed to like be carrying England to a win, but he didn't. Same thing with like a player on Germany and Belgium, but Messi wins it in a World Cup that literally had like all the eyes in the world on him, and more so than a normal World Cup. And it's just and like I said, not only that, in an already memorable World Cup, whether it be penalty kick or whatever, he like his performance was what you expect from a superstar against another superstar who also had a superstar performance. And in probably one of the most interesting World Cup finals I've ever seen. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, I loved it though.
Hey,
find yourself a hot girl here.
Love it.
Uh-oh.
No, like it really, like you say, it was.
We're really blowing these things up here, aren't we?
It was not just the event that happened; it was who it was involved, what actually happened during the event, and the result, and just the culmination of how the whole storybook unfolded was beyond memorable.
Yeah, and I think here's the weird thing about this. The fact that it started at 10 a.m. on a Sunday morning. I mean, obviously, I know you got the time difference and everything like that, but it's an odd time start when you think about it. I will help you find a hot girl if you want. I do work in the film industry. Many waiters in the order. But what was I going to say? But the time frame, the timestamp itself was unusual. And even when basically it started over there in the mid-afternoon, I was very confused by that. Because I figured in this case, when you have something like France, they're watching that in the middle of the afternoon. This is prime time, and they're maybe like 2 hours behind? Argentina is on par to where we are right now. That's a morning thing there. Part of the problem that happened with the way Qatar handled this is their championship did not conform well to their own schedule. It was not an 8 o'clock start there. It was, and maybe, who knows, maybe Fox had influence on this in some way and said, we want this to be 10 a.m. because the United States draws. Because soccer, listen, it's not that it draws well on percentage, but on a third of a billion people, you can get a good number on that versus what Qatar or even France can do.
I said this last time we talked about this, the timing of the World Cup during this year, like at that time, like people are home on a Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Like during the summer when it usually is, like people are out and about. You get up, the day's nice. Let's get out there. It's a nice Sunday. Let's go out and do something. Like not in late November, early December. You're sitting home for us watching.
When Qatar drops to 80
we're
degrees.
watching football. And then it just worked out perfectly where we had this match beforehand. It ended at like 5-1. It was like we really had a perfect 5 to 10 minutes. It was
right down to the wire in so many ways.
We had everybody had like a nice 5 to 10 minute period to really get into NFL football. And it really set itself up for an all eyes on this game situation where most of the country wasn't doing jack shit but watching sports on a Sunday morning. So
it fed right into Cowboys Jags.
Yeah. That amazing game.
That was amazing. Well, yeah, but also the fact that it timed so well that people had just enough time to pee and come back for that game.
It gave people enough time for a bathroom break.
Really, that's all it was.
Yeah, no, it worked out. It was an evening game for around there. And for us, it turned out to be a nice afternoon game. And it gave a massive amount of fodder for all the evening sports shows. So,
yes, it did. And like I said, Messi is one of those weird people that even people that don't follow sports recognize the name.
Yes.
I mean, it's funny. If you ever watch like Ted Lasso on Apple TV, he's sitting there. He's like, there's that there's that bended guy, when Jason Sudeikis, who's now, the head of, the head coach of the Richmond club. And he's sitting there, he's like, there's that bended guy, because people don't know soccer in the U.S., but they know Lionel Messi. They know Ronaldo. There's Mbappe, maybe not, but they will in 2026. They will. They will. Because like I said, there's heroes on both sides. And Mbappe, I think, can be in a lot of ways the face of European football, soccer, whatever you want to call it.
He probably is going to be.
Yeah, I think he will. I still stand by my belief that I think Sean Johnson could conceivably be the head coach of the U.S. men's team in 2026. If Berhalter steps down.
Anyone but the current guy.
Sean could be. He's captain of NYCFC. He's a likable, charismatic guy. He's a good leader. I've watched him in action that way. And I think it is possible he could be on the coaching staff, if not the head coach of that team.
Honestly, absolutely. Or even better, Landon Donovan. Like a little side.
You have to come out of the booth, but
come out of left field. You could probably bring in Donovan. Yeah, because he knows the game. He's probably one of the biggest U.S. stars to ever come out he's probably one of the biggest soccer stars to ever come out of the U.S. Like, he was actually known in Europe. Mm-hmm. That's the crazy. It's like if that happens to an American,
player,
you're good.
Matt Turner plays for Arsenal. He was the starting goalkeeper
Yeah,
So,
but Matt Turner's not a household name in Europe.
no,
Landon Donovan was known.
true.
Like his name, it's like you could go some random person in like Germany or something and say, hey, do you know so and so?
Yeah.
But then you say, do you know who Landon Donovan is? Oh yeah, duh.
All right. So yeah, we're gonna remember that. Now I have one more for you guys. The big question again, one more time. Will this be remembered in 2030, 8 years from now? Give me a second. Pull it up. Frontier League Baseball. As the Quebec Capitals defeated the Schaumburg Boomers for the 3-1 series. I like Frontier League. I don't care. I dig the shit out of Frontier League Baseball.
So
wait,
it's yeah, Quebec. It's memorable. No, I mean,
Canada wins basically the Frontier League or an American Baseball League, and beat the Schaumburg Boomers.
Okay. Hey, is that the first time they've won?
I don't know. Actually,
I was gonna say, is that the first time a Canadian team's won the Frontier
No,
League?
they've won before.
Okay.
There's a couple Canadian
So it's
teams
not
in
so
Frontier
it's not historic.
Yeah.
It's
got to be
like,
the biggest baseball win in Canada since the 90s. The Blue Jays.
Since the Blue Jays, yeah.
That is not no longer accurate. As the Capitals win 3-1. So
Okay.
But having covered the New York Boulders, who lost in really, really bad fashion in the one game. The way the system is in Frontier League is in the wild card standings, you get 1 game single elimination, and then it's a 3-game final, and then a 5-game final.
Okay.
So in their case, right now, they made it. They had the most runs in the entire season, and they just flamed out bad in that wild card game. They were down like 9-2 in the third. And it was just, I was sitting there, I was on set, and I'm sitting there watching these things and being like, yeah, I'm gonna have to write up about the fact that this team spent 5 months playing exceptional baseball, and now all of a sudden in a single game, going home. It sucked. And they lost at home too. They lost at home.
Oh, that is the nature of the playoffs, especially if it's a 1-game playoff.
Yeah, and the wild card is a brutal 1-game playoff in this case.
Yeah.
But
one game. It's like I remember the wild card game last year with when they had those 1-game playoffs, and I'm like, this sucks. It's like, yeah, it's down to the wire, but you know what? That type of 1-game playoff should only happen if there's a tie in the regular season that requires it. Otherwise,
1 game is
at
not
least
enough.
best of 3.
So,
yeah.
But it was.
But no, congratulations to Quebec.
Yes.
And at first I thought, I was like, is that the league that the Savannah Bananas are in?
That's what I thought they were first.
No,
I thought
no,
we got some Savannah Banana baseball here.
No, they have. I was gonna say, the Boomers, the Otters, the Titans. They have 2 teams that I believe are the minors.
Cool.
One team, basically, I know the PR guy, so we're covering that next year.
Okay.
So
nice.
we already got that locked out. West Jersey.
Okay.
By the way, their new manager over there is Chris Widger. Remember that name?
The name rings a bell, but I can't pinpoint.
He played 12 years in Major League Baseball, 1 year with the Yankees, and won a World Series with the White Sox in 2005.
That's the name probably rings a bell just because he played for the Yankees.
Yeah, it was that 1 year, like 2002, after like the team left, and we had that first year. We had that first year of Yes, where James Dolan's like, we're not giving you the Yes Network, watch the Mets instead. So you have Jason Giambi, you got Robin Ventura on that team. O'Neill is gone. Brocious, Tino, who is my guy, 100% my guy.
Tino. Oh, I have a Tino jersey.
I wasn't able to watch the games, and working second shift, I couldn't even watch the games when they were on like CBS. Mm-hmm. So I watched none of that year. That team that year.
Yeah.
But Chris Widger, that was his 1 year there, and he won a World Series in 2005. So
good for him. That's awesome.
So he's the new manager over there. I think Tri Rivers is still Pete Incaviglia, if you remember that name.
Okay. Is the Frontier League the league with the Newark Bears?
No, that's Atlantic League.
Atlantic. Okay.
The New Jersey Jackals, though, is them.
Okay, Jackals.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the Jackals. Bobby Jones, who played with the Mets, I think, for a season or 2, is their manager, or in their like organization somewhere.
Okay. I'm hoping one of these independent leagues pick up the Trenton Thunder. To be honest.
Yeah.
Ever since the Yankees lost their deal with them, they've kind of just been floating between different minor league systems, and it's a shame because that stadium is beautiful. Trenton Thunder has one of the most beautiful minor league stadiums I've ever been to.
Did I hear this right? And I'm just running with this. And say if I'm wrong, let me know. Did you say something about Delaware?
I live down in Delaware, or I don't live down in Delaware. I work at University of Delaware.
Okay.
And
yeah,
I do know which team you're talking about. It's Wilmington.
Okay.
And I do drive by the stadium almost
Okay.
every
Yeah, the Blue
day.
Rocks.
Yep, Blue
Sorry.
Rocks.
Okay. Yeah,
You got the Blue Rocks in Wilmington. You got the Blue Hens at University of Delaware.
a whole lot of blue going on apparently.
All their uniforms are like neat, like the boldest blue you'll ever see. It's crazy. Really nice though. It's like the contrast to the Villanova blue, but the Wilmington minor league team. I drive by their stadium on occasion if 495's backed up, so I have to take 95 through Wilmington.
Okay.
So no, it's a nice stadium, but no, Trenton Thunder. The stadium in Trenton is gorgeous.
Nice. Well, I mean, that's honestly something we can probably look up as well as the new season gets closer. By the way, that's their logo, which is actually it's not bad.
Okay.
You know, I kind of like the blue on blue with the black there.
Oh yeah. The sky blue on the dark blue is nice.
Yeah. It's got
like
almost a little bit of a Tampa Bay Ray look to it. A little bit.
Yeah, some Rays, some Mariners, some
Mariners are more like teal.
Yeah.
It's like they're like the off blue.
Yeah. They had some baby blue.
But
yeah,
I mean in this case we'll look
Royals is probably
Royals in there.
The Royals and their alternate like powder blue uniforms are absolutely.
But Frontier League, like I said, we're more involved with next year, so we may do a little more time on the shows.
Nice.
Player interviews behind the scenes. I mean, Widger will be an easy grab because this is the weirdest thing. I went to a computer school back in 1994 with this dude named Brett, and we were just kind of just there chilling. He was big into hockey. I lost touch with him, and it was Brett Luthner.
Okay.
If you remember that name, because Brett Luthner went to Connecticut School of Broadcasting, where by the way I met him, and I reconnected with him literally 25 years later. And he turns out he's involved with the Sussex Miners. He's their play-by-play guy, and he's like, "Yeah, we'll take more publicity. We need all the help we can get." It's like we'll always take more. There's no problem with that because in West Jersey, they need a little more love out there because there's not a lot when it comes because you got the Stroudsburg area. It's too far from New Jersey and like New York and everything. So it's like, take what we got. So
okay.
So.
Here, I got something. I got one of these for you. What was more memorable this year, the Colorado Avalanche winning the hockey title, or LAFC winning soccer?
To me, LAFC. Because it was a shootout. It was against Philadelphia. It's
with
LA.
An amazing collapse by Philadelphia.
Because actually in this case, the come from behind in this case when you're still down a man. To force, the penalty shootout, but also because soccer, I think, is more popular than hockey now.
It's certainly getting there.
Yeah.
I think that would be that's like the next barometer for them. It's like, okay, so they're becoming more popular. It's like the first tier to get more popular then is hockey. You get more popular than hockey, then you could talk being more popular than say like NASCAR or baseball or basketball or football or something like that. As you work your way up the list.
I'm looking at the ratings for Avalanche versus Lightning. The average was 2.3 million on ABC and ESPN Plus. MLS title, MLS championship was 2.5 million.
Okay.
And almost half of that was 18 to 29.
Nice.
Hockey, I don't think can pull that young.
Not yet.
No.
But then again, their advertising isn't, or their promotion is not that good.
It's not. Bettman has not done a good job in that department.
And I'm sure if JD was here, he'd probably go into like a full-on frothing tirade about that.
We don't have the swear limit, filter here. So
JD should have been here today. He would have had a lot of fun with that one.
I was looking at the numbers. I have a feeling he was watching, but
yeah. But yeah, so it's like, so honestly, congratulations to LAFC for winning, but the Philly Union is now a real Philadelphia team.
Yeah, well, they got some love, which they deserve.
They've shown. Well, it's like they've shown they could collapse with the best of them.
Yes, exactly. Well, and see, also they lost that one and then lost the World Series that night.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right.
They lost Game
Those
6.
are
That
tough.
They had to, yeah, they're
So
like the
one
only
could've
city
been
to
the
Hey,
ever
but
lose
they
two
but they beat the
championships in one
Texans
game.
that day. The Eagles beat the Texans that weekend. So you know, silver lining.
Yeah, but you had that single day where I think the first time in history a city lost 2 championships in the same day.
That's rough.
You know, I mean, Andre Blanco was,
That is true Philly fashion.
oh yeah, but you know what? Respect the Reading Terminal market. I
Yes.
still love that place.
The fact they made it to the championship
Oh yeah,
rounds is an absolute accomplishment.
I knew they would from last year. I was
Mhm.
there when they
Yep.
lost. When they lost to NYCFC,
Yep.
and I saw just that anger and a hate that they had. And
Yep.
I'm like, this team can go all the way.
Oh, absolutely.
But
But yeah, it's like the fact that they made the championship is definitely a testament to the quality of their teams.
yeah,
It's just it's like a magic spell. You face Philly in a finals, they will face plant in probably the greatest fashion you'll ever see.
yeah.
Case in point with the Union having the lead with a man above, and then
Or the Eagles this weekend against the Cowboys.
that was a back and forth match. That one wasn't
Yeah.
just an utter stomping. No,
Well, it's a
that
good
was
game.
actually back and forth. That one was okay, either team can really win.
Mhm.
Union, it was like you think they could win, and then in like 4 seconds they lost every form of momentum known to man, and then just got shellacked in the shootout. I don't think they even made a single goal in the shootout,
They didn't. I think
which
it was
is
3-0.
which is
3-0 was the
like
final on that.
unheard of in a soccer
Yeah, at least
penalty
France
kick
got
shootout.
something. I think they got 2. I think it was 4-2.
Like you could literally sneeze at the ball and it will go in. And the fact that they went 0-3 is just
yeah,
amazing. Or like or they went like it was 0-3.
it was 0-3.
NYCFC won in 3 penalty kicks,
Yeah,
which is just like it was painful to listen to.
yeah.
Yep.
You know, speaking as somebody who covers NYCFC, I couldn't help but, and I was torn because on one hand, I wanted JD to have the feeling I had last year and probably bigger. But on the other hand, it's also the team that beat my team.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
The Union NYCFC was a fantastic game.
Oh yeah, but NYCFC was outmatched from the get go.
Oh
there was no way they were going to pull that deal.
Yeah, there was no miracle upset this time.
Yeah,
but
MLS starts in about 2 months actually at this point. So
that should be fun.
Yeah. So, all right. Anything else, gentlemen? You want to call it?
Also, Aaron Judge. Also, there's only like a little mention of Aaron Judge and the historic performance. That one, it's like I can go into in depth about my frustrations with the Yankees right now, but I am, even though it's an absurd contract.
If you want to do it, because that's going to start off the new year. You know, New Year's resolutions that teams need to have. Stop blowing money on crap players that can't.
Well, it's like, but at least this year, the money was blown on pieces that they needed. They needed to get Judge, absolutely. Because if they didn't, it's like if Judge didn't want to play for the Yankees, then whatever, we can understand it, fine. But if Judge left the Yankees due to money,
due to
like the Steinbrenners lowballing him, they would be thrown out a tower in New York City. There would be a riot. They would be strung up.
But JD and I talked about this privately. Yeah. The baseball bubble is going to burst.
Oh, it will.
All of these massive deals that are going to crush out, 5, 6, 7 years from now when players start to flame out and they're still making 30, 40 million a year. That bubble is going to burst.
Oh, absolutely.
That's why I posted on the Facebook thing the other day about the London Kings in Star Trek, because eventually baseball is going to flame itself out this way, and it'll be interesting because the bubble's going to burst and all the contracts are going to drop dramatically.
Absolutely, but it's no, absolutely. It's like so that no the players got their contracts this year, and the thing is, it was. But then again, it's like how much of it was Cohen bidding on the stuff. So
Cohen, I think, is ruining the sport across the board. But for Mets Nation, I get why you want it.
I don't think he's ruining the sport. Let me
interject.
Go right.
I figured you'd have a statement on this one.
I was gonna say, it's like I see you down there. You're like,
no, I am so sick of this topic because why do we need to limit teams that actually want to compete and spend money and put a winning product on the field, as opposed to other teams in the league. So now we have to use this competitive luxury tax threshold as an excuse, as a crutch to let these shit owners and shit general managers off the hook because they don't want to do their damn jobs.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
I'm tired of it.
No, I am actually
You
in
have
full
to have
agreement with
money to own a team. I don't care just because your value of a team is the lowest in the league. You still need to have money to own this team, which means you have money.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm so tired of
absolutely.
we have to now put onus on the better teams or the teams that spend the most money to have to try and limit them because the other teams and the other crap owners don't want to do their jobs.
Oh, absolutely.
I hate that. I'm so tired. I'm so tired of every salary cap, all these luxury. What? Why? If the New York Mets or the Lakers, the Cowboys, the Thunder, any team in any sport, why can't they spend whatever money they want on whoever they want? If it's especially as long as it's legal. If we're getting into illegal activities, then fine, then that's a whole nother stare. But I can't understand why, as leagues, we sit there and say, hey, Team A, you can only spend this much because Team B over here really is incompetent and they don't know what they're doing.
And
drives me up a wall.
And I am 100% sure that the vast majority of those teams that are going to receive the money from the Cohen tax are just going to pocket it. Absolutely.
Rather than hockey, go out and get yourself a $40 million a year player. You're giving a free player every year. You are giving, and nothing.
The Yankees paid for a bunch of those championship teams in the 2000s.
Oh yeah,
yeah, like a bunch of the like the White Sox. They made money from the Yankees. The Angels made money from the Yankees. Like the Marlins made money from the Yankees. They no, absolutely. No, I'm in agreement. I want all the money that Cohen's spending to hopefully spur these crappy ownership teams like Pirates specifically to actually, improve their team instead of just pocketing it.
There used to be a time where they used to, that's where the salary floor comes in.
Yeah. It should be a salary floor. Absolutely.
Whatever team, the Pirates, the Reds, the Marlins, anybody, your issues, that's not the Mets problem.
No, it's not.
That's not the Yankees problem. That's not the Astros. That's not other teams' problems. It's your problem. Deal with it.
Yeah, no, I got no problem with with owners spending money to actually make the team better.
Like I said, I don't blame Cohen for wanting to win. I have no problem with that. You want to drop 40 plus on Verlander for 2 years? I don't blame you one iota on that, especially when you lose like a guy like DeGrom. But the rest of the league is looking at it and being like, we have to compete with
good.
And that's where I think a lot of them are pissed at him, frankly.
No, they're absolutely pissed because now they have to get off their butts.
Go be angry at other teams that shouldn't be in business or shouldn't have those people in those positions because they don't know what they're doing or choose not to do what they have to do.
Yeah.
Well, when my Tampa Bay Rays win the World Series this year,
it's not my Uncle Stevie's problem, okay?
No, dude, no. Uncle Stevie. You may name your child if and when you have one as Uncle. Uncle Stevie may be the middle name for the child.
Yeah, I don't know. Hey. We'll see what happens in these next couple of years, but I don't know. Uncle Stevie, you might secure yourself.
It'll be Brandon Cohen K. Jr.
It'll be Brandon Uncle Stevie Cohen K. Jr.
There you go. Okay, perfect.
So good.
All right, guys. Anything else you think?
Nah.
I am good.
So it's pushing 8 o'clock at this point. So thanks as always. I appreciate it. You guys, thank you. Happy almost New Year at this point too.
Almost birthday as well.
I'm sitting there. I'm old enough to look at basically the Ryan Seacrest thing, and I'm like, I recognize like 2 names on all these performers at this point. Wiz Khalifa, I got Halle Berry, I got the rest of them. Like, who the fuck?
Yeah, it's gotten out of control.
I was gonna say, and isn't Jimmy Fallon hosting the Oscars this year?
He could be.
Or Kimmel. Well, I think Kimmel is.
Kimmel, that's it.
One of the Jimmys.
If it's ABC, it would be. Can I just point out that ABC really, really loves to hawk it? So, okay, I'm going off topic for 1 second. I don't know how, but somehow on YouTube, all the episodes of Jeopardy are uploaded to YouTube like 7 hours before they actually go live on ABC.
It's because
And-
they're pre-recorded.
But it's
Yeah, but
somehow
even
it's
still.
but you like the algorithm for YouTube isn't catching it. But with
Oh.
intros, intros, interviews with the contestants and credits, the episodes are coming in at 18 and a half minutes long, which means there's 11 plus minutes of commercial in a 30-minute Jeopardy episode.
Oh
If
goodness.
you look it up,
I've
they're all
noticed that.
coming in like 1820, 1840, might hit 19 once in a blue moon. But yeah, dude. And then of course they have the pop-ins on there. So Avatar Way of Water or whatever Disney Plus has, at like in the bottom right, they're doing pop-up ads.
While the episodes. No, I have a very hard time watching cable TV now because
Yeah. Well,
just how intrusive the ads
my
are.
mother-in-law watches Jeopardy all the time. So
Oh, I love Jeopardy.
Yeah.
It's like, granted, the farthest I've ever made in the tryouts was the second round, but that's about it.
Okay. One of the kids from my hometown actually was just there last week.
Nice.
There was a kid with a bow tie. He graduated
cool.
my class like in 2008.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
Congrats. Hey, just
Yeah,
making
cool.
it on the show is tough.
Oh
Like
yeah, I've heard.
it's like I said, I think it's like just going through. There's like you have like the online exam, then you have like a second online exam if you made it past the first one, and then if you make it past that, you basically, it's like if you do well on that, you get placed in the pool, and then they pick from that, and chances are you could do well and still not get picked, and then you just go, and then you get put into like the live pool where I think they do like a live interview with you, and if you do well on that, then you get placed into the potential contestant pool, and then they pick from that for each episode.
Jeez.
There's like 3-4 rounds you got to go through.
It doesn't surprise me. It's a staple.
It's mainly so that you don't get just Joe Schmo stinking up the joint on a trivia show.
I'd like to buy a vowel.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not that you have to go through like the personality interview just to make sure that you're actually suitable for TV, and you're not just gonna go dropping F-bombs every way just because the camera's on you.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure there's probably
I was gonna say, I'm sure you're familiar with that one.
Yeah, I kind of went through something similar with AGT all those years ago.
Mm.
So, but anyway, I don't know why I went off on that tangent. That's a tail.
It's a fun.
happens.
Today's a fun episode.
Dude, yeah, just for the fuck of it, why not? So
Lots of F-bombs. Fuck this. Fuck that.
Exactly.
Fuck you. Fuck them.
Fuck. This movie has warped my fragile little mind.
Wait. What are you saying? You saying my mind's not right?
Oh, dude,
What the
20
hell's
plus
wrong
years
with you,
since the
dude?
South Park movie. So,
Ah,
all right, guys. Thank you as always. I appreciate it. Have a good New Year. You, everybody, you.
You as well,
You,
gents.
you're good, you. So
This fucker, that fucker.
that
everyone.
fucker, fuckity, fuck, suck.